Just before we start, unlike other videos, this clip is strictly restricted to 18 plus of age as it contains disturbing factual information. Please be aware. Hello and welcome to the School of Alevism. In this episode, we will cover one of the tragic events of Alevi history, which is the Maraş massacre. Going over these events are of course disturbing and upsetting, but like many other massacres and genocides against our communities, these events actually happened. The city's original name was Maraş. However, after playing a notable role in World War I, the authorities added the word hero to the official name. Now, an interesting question you may have wondered in the past: why do Alevis from Kahramanmaraş never refer to the city as Kahramanmaraş? This is because the city represents a dark part of Alevi history, and they just cannot bear the thought of calling this haunted city a hero. So, what actually happened? On the night of Friday 22nd of December 1978, all Alevi homes were marked with a red X symbol. While many Alevi families were confused with this strange marking on their front door, little did they know that this was to pinpoint the households to freely murder, burn, and rape. The next day, announcements were made from local mosque towers to protect our city, attack the Kızıls, which is another word for Alevis. In the following hours, armed and masked local Islamist and racist groups raided Alevi homes. While chanting "Kill for God," rather than try to stop the attacks, the neighbouring houses joined the hate crowd to point out which houses were in fact Alevi. Hundreds of Alevis of all ages were killed. Thousands were heavily injured. The massacre lasted for 3 days. For 3 days, fathers watched their children get decapitated in front of their eyes. 14-year-old Ali Trash's body limbs were found in cooking pans. For 3 days, mothers were raped in front of their families. Just moments before attackers broke into their home, Mrs. Doğan told her husband, "I would rather die by your hands than let them touch me. Kill me now." There were many statements of human breasts being found with the bodies nowhere to be discovered. Statements of elder women and men in their late 80s and late 90s found raped and slaughtered. Lifeless Alevi babies that had been knifed from their mother's womb were hung in town centres as a victory flag from attacker crowds. Total carnage was released upon Alevi communities. But it wasn't just Alevis that died in Maraş. Humanity died. Hope died.
Bir kalabalık grup evimize saldırdılar. Pencereden gelen bir kurşunla babam yaralandı. Kapıdan gelen kurşunla ben bacaklarımdan yaralandım.
Abim gelmiş ki içeride zannetmiş biz yanıyoruz. Gelmiş söndürmüş biraz geçerken düşmanlar başına paltayla vurdu gibi ketmişler. 4 çocuğu var.
Now, it's important to note here that it's harder for newer generations to understand the soul-crushing element of these past events. We weren't even alive. Most family members who went through it are not alive. But what we need to understand is where we are today, even the UK, Europe, or even America, and not in Anatolia, is because of such events and the knock-on effect it had on society. Factions and people that played a controlling role in the massacre still have presence in today's political movements, such as the MHP and AKP in Turkey. Specifically, a man called Ökeş Şendiller, who is one of the orchestrators behind the massacre, went on to become a member of parliament in Turkey and had positions in human rights committees within the government agencies. After 42 years, the governor of Maraş and authorities in Turkey still to this day do not allow Alevis to publicly condemn or even arrange a simple remembrance between the 19th and 26th of December. For the last 10 years, Britain Alevi Federation with the Alevi Confederation and Turkey Alevi associations has actively advocated for the remembrance, but were faced with police brutality in every occasion. However, our point is this. Videos like this one, or gatherings in remembrance to the massacre, are not to feed our hate. It is to answer the questions that we still have. Like, where was the police or authorities during this 3-day massacre? Or what originated the hatred against Alevism? Or even, where are the graves of hundreds of missing bodies? Alevis have survived Maraş and many other tragic events. The message here is, do not forget who you are. Know your past. This history is not your family's past, it is your past. And by remembering and acting, we won't allow the foundations of another massacre to be stemmed today. Just as we were preparing to post this video, there has been a very disheartening development regarding this topic that we had to share. Last night, on the 19th of December 2020, the chair of British Alevi Federation, Erbil Erbil, was once again travelling to Maraş to attempt a peaceful commemoration for the massacre. When he arrived in Istanbul airport, he was immediately taken into custody by the authorities and detained in the police station for 4 hours. Unknown to Erbil, there were charges against him by the prosecutor's office for the statement he made in last year's Maraş massacre gathering. In yesterday's questioning, he was asked, "Is this statement yours? And if so, are your beliefs still the same?" He answered, "The statement is entirely my own, and I will be making the same speech again tomorrow at this year's commemoration, because our fight for justice still continues." Please join our cause to support Erbil to ensure his safe return to the UK on Tuesday. Most importantly, we must continue to campaign for the right to commemorate massacres and find the answers to the questions that the Turkish authorities still refuse to face.
Evet, Maraş'ı, Çorum'u, Sivas'ı, Gazi, tüm katliamları eğer unutursak yüreğimiz kahrolsun, dilimiz lan olsun. Maraş'ı unutma!